In the 2016 election, 92 million of the eligible voters did not vote. Only about 50% of the eligible voters in the millennial generation cast a ballot, which is less than the projected estimated youth turnout, which was 58%. Despite holding strong opinions on many of the issues in the upcoming election, a Kaiser Family Foundation survey said before the 2000 election, for many young people, the connection hasn't been made between voting and what happens on the issues they care about most. When I registered last year to vote, I was so excited to voice my opinion on candidates as well as use my civic duty. From my class survey, I found that half of you are registered to vote, which is awesome, and the other half that aren't registered plan to do so before the upcoming election this year. Today I'll be talking about why the youth voter turnout is so low, how we can encourage more young people to vote, as well as what power we have with our voice. First, let's talk about why so many young people aren't showing up to the polls. One of the biggest issues is that we're not feeling represented in Congress. We feel very disengaged from the baby boomer generation, which is who makes up most of our government currently. Past candidates in past elections also aren't really encouraging the youth vote, and so we don't really feel that we have a place in voting. Another issue is that many young people live out of state of where their polling location is located, and so have a hard time getting absentee ballot. Another problem is that there is not a lot of information or education being given to high school students about politics, elections in general, and candidates. Now let's see how we can fix those problems and get more voters to vote. One thing that has changed since past elections and more recent elections, like the 2016 presidential election, is that candidates are starting to make more of an effort to encourage younger voters. Candidates like Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders are showing examples of this. Bernie Sanders has, for example, a very large presence on social media and is constantly interacting with people of the younger generations through social media. He also started the College Students for Sanders group, which allows him to do live streams on multiple campuses, around 200 around the country, and have tens of thousands of students talk to him and interact with him. Something that has worked with past elections to encourage more youth voters is to bring more attention to the candidates and have voting rallies, more media coverage, mock elections, pledges, registration accessibility, as well as youth conventions. A college student who was at a Bernie Sanders rally in 2016 named Cecilia Cherubini said, "You know, it's great to have someone from another generation seeing what we're seeing." Now let's see the impact of our voices. In the US, millennials and Generation Z make up more than a third of eligible voters. Many experts say that we can make a large impact on this year's election because we're more ethically diverse and more liberal than older generations. From my survey of the classroom, I noticed that a couple of people have expressed that in the grand scheme of things, their vote doesn't really matter, and that the House of Representatives has the final say in who is elected, which is true. However, we decide who is in the House of Representatives simply by popular vote. The 2018 midterm election shows the power of the youth vote. According to the Pew Research, in 2018, the midterm elections drew more voters than any other non-presidential year since 1978. Of the three youngest generations of voters, Gen X, Millennials, and Gen Y, we outvoted baby boomers for just the second election in history, the first one in 2016 presidential election. The 2018 election was historic, especially for women. Women candidates broke records for the number of candidates for governor, U.S. House, and the U.S. Senate. 90 women were elected into the House of Representatives. The first Muslim woman was elected into Congress. Tennessee gained its first woman senator. 2 Native American women were the first to be elected into Congress, and Arizona had their first female senator, as well as the first openly bisexual senator. There are so many more women that were voted in states for the first time, but this is just to name a few. In conclusion, as one of the most influential groups in this country, we need to use our voices because if we work together, we have the power to show representations of us in the government. It is important to educate ourselves on upcoming elections as well as candidates. And not every country has the ability and the freedom to do the simple task of voting who they want to represent them. So I encourage you to please use it. Underneath this video, I'll be posting a link where you'll be able to register to vote. It's super simple. It'll probably take you 5 minutes, and I encourage you to use it if you have not registered to vote for the upcoming election. Thank you.